Welcome to See You at Work. In today's special edition, we'll talk about Yes Bank, which has recently concluded rupees 8,900 crore deal, and the man who was responsible for it was MD and CEO Mr. Prashant Kumar. We'll talk about the deal and also shareholders lock-in, which ends in March 2023. Whether shareholders will stay or will they look for exit route, we'll find out. Welcome, Mr. Kumar. So, I want to ask you first, before we start on deal and other questions, when you first walked in around 3 years back, 2 years, 8 months to be precise, what was going in your mind?
So first thing, it was a different building. We were in the lower Parel.
Right.
Okay. But definitely we were not clear, lot of uncertainties. But definitely there was a resolve that this is a problem and we need to sort out. So we were having the full confidence, but yes, we were not aware there were a lot of uncertainties around it.
Definitely. Now, I'll talk about the deal which you have recently concluded. It is pegged as the second largest deal in the banking space in the last 20 years if somebody has raised private capital.
Yeah.
Now tell me, what has happened till now and what is remaining? Has the deal completely concluded now?
Yeah, so deal has been concluded day before. Okay, so basically like our board has approved earlier, it was approved by the shareholders also, and we also got the regulatory approval. And after the regulatory approval on 13th evening, our board has allocated the shares. So deal is finally concluded and their nominee directors have also been inducted into the board.
Right. Now, when you say deal is concluded, how much stake has already gone to the two entities now, and what kind of transfer is remaining, if at all?
So basically they would be holding 9.99% each. The entire deal has been structured because of the one condition in our restructuring scheme, that State Bank of India before 3 years cannot come down below 26%.
Right.
So currently they were holding 30%.
Right.
If the entire money had to come immediately, they would have come down to 24%. So what we have done, almost 2/3 money is coming now,
Okay.
where the SBI holding would come down to 26.1%, and post-March, the warrants would also be converted.
Okay.
Then State Bank of India shareholding would come down to 24%.
So currently, how much money Yes Bank has already received?
So we are getting almost 6,500.
So that money has already been transferred?
Already been transferred.
Okay, and remaining amount will be done in due course of time. That means
Post-March.
Post-March. That means
Post-March
by
23.
Q1 of FY 2024.
Yeah. So basically the warrants can be converted any time within 18 months
Okay.
post-March.
Okay.
Yeah.
You spoke about State Bank of India, where 26% lock-in is there. Now, everybody wants to know whether or not SBI will stay post-March or not.
I can't speak on behalf of SBI, okay. But when I speak to all investor banks, we have large number of investor banks, okay. It gives us confidence that there is no reason to worry about the March event.
Okay, no reason to worry about, and it is not only State Bank of India. There are other banks who had invested in Yes Bank, whose almost investment has almost doubled, if you say so, after you have taken over. Has there been any conversations with them as well? Have you got any feel? I mean, how they are looking into this?
So when I am saying I am talking about the conversation with all the investor banks.
Okay.
And the feedback does not give us any worry. Beyond that, it would be very, very difficult for me to speak on behalf of a listed entity.
That is understandable. Now, also, much of this would depend on how Q3 and Q4 will pan out for the bank. If you talk about numbers, there has been drastic improvement, if I would say, in the last 3 years. Do you think the momentum which was there till Q2 will continue in Q3 and Q4 as well?
We are fully confident that not only the momentum on the operating performance would continue, but I think the other important thing which is going to happen would be conclusion of our ARC deal. Okay.
Okay.
So we are almost like 48,000 crores of gross NPA would also shift to the ARC in couple of days, and this would be reflected in our December quarter results.
And how much of amount will reflect on that front?
So basically then our GNPA would be somewhere around 2%.
Okay. And around 1,600 crore would reflect on balance sheet due to that.
So basically the structure is a 1585 structure.
Okay.
So whatever is the net carrying value of our assets currently, it would shift to the investment in the form of a security receipt. But 15% money would be used to reduce the value of the security receipt.
Okay. So ARC deal you are also telling us that is likely to be concluded in this week itself probably?
Yeah, in couple of days, but definitely during this quarter.
So both the deals, whether it is Carlyle and Advent International or whether it is ARC deal, both the deals are going to get concluded in the December quarter, out of which one has already been done.
Already done. Yeah, second deal would be in couple of days, and both the outcomes would be the part of our quarter 3 results.
How much of CRAR will increase after the deal with Advent International and Carlyle?
So post conversion of warrant structure, our CET would improve by 400 basis points.
Okay.
So our CET would be around 15.7, and our overall capital adequacy would be more than 20%.
Okay. So that will happen after March, or it will get reflected in Q3 itself?
In Q3, actually, the improvement would be to the extent of 250 basis point on the CET and the overall capital, and remaining 150 basis point would happen post conversion of the warrant.
Now, talking about the turnaround, if I would use that word, after you have taken over, in past 3 years, what were the challenges you faced once you took over Yes Bank? That was a time when nobody wanted to put in the money, but now investors' money has doubled. What were the things you faced, and how did you took on that challenge?
I think there were multiple issues at that point of time, and I would be saying the biggest issue was in terms of the confidence of our customers in the bank. And since there was an issue not only from the customer, I think there was also in terms of the confidence of our employees. Okay.
Right.
Because they were also worried, there was no certainty. So that was one part. The second part was also in terms of balance sheet management. So I think we were able to recognize the problems and also take the appropriate steps.
Right.
In the sense like all stress accounts, which were actually falling into NPA categories, they were categorized as NPA, and we made the provisions against that. Okay. But we also realized that the problem in the bank is only about the corporate loans. The remaining part of the bank was very well, doing very well. So what we have done that despite these issues, we have not allowed the rest of the bank to suffer. Okay.
Right. So that is the reason you shifted more towards retail side.
Retail side. So that was also one of the reasons. And I think that strategy has really worked. We continue to invest in technology, we continue to invest in our people, and also in terms of reaching out to customer, and also investment in our digital capabilities. So I think today, like if we see, on one side we are able to take care of the corporate loans,
right,
but the other part we are doing a very good growth. So if you see even the quarter 2, our growth on the retail loans is more than 40%. Medium enterprise also we are more than 30%.
So are you still getting the feelers on ground that the credit growth which was there in till Q2, and it is not only for Yes Bank but for all the banks, was exceptional?
Yeah.
So will there be some moderation in that, or do you think that that kind of momentum is going to continue?
I think the kind of growth which we have seen in quarter 2, one was also the low base impact. Okay?
Right.
But fundamentally, I think the way the rate of interest are increasing, there are issues in terms of we have reached to a stage. I think the credit growth would cool down. It would not be to the extent of like 19% or 20%, which we have seen in quarter 2.
Okay. But still, the kind of base effect also was a reason last time due to which the numbers were looking big. Now that becoming big now, and Do you think that banks will have to make an extra effort for improving credit growth now?
I think the banks need to be little cautious. Growth is important, but at the same time, if there is any impact because of the higher rate of interest, then I think we need to be mindful because the inflation is still hovering around 6%.
Right.
So I think there would be growth, but in our understanding, banks have to be very, very mindful in terms of the quality.
Right. Uh, Now you have recently got reappointed as MD and CEO at Yes Bank. I want to know, when you leave Yes Bank or when you retire from here, what are the basic parameters you visualize that will be there at private lender once your retirement comes or once your term ends here?
No, I think the biggest satisfaction would be in terms of what you leave behind you. Okay. So I think what we are leaving behind at whatever time and how we are building the institution, it is not dependent only on one person.
Right.
Okay, so we are developing the entire leadership, giving them the delegation in terms of taking a decision and also the accountability. So I think the way the entire bank is getting evolved, it's more in terms of a very matured leadership, understanding the risk,
Right.
taking the decision on their own, and I think this would become a very, very strong foundation for any bank.
One thing which is talked about by shareholders is always return on assets, ROE. That is something, are the key parameters for any of the bank. Now for you, I would ask, to reach ROA of 1%, how much time should you think you will take?
I think not more than, say, 5 quarters. So I think at the end of FY24, we are quite confident to deliver a ROA of 1% to our investors.
And similarly, if I would ask about the credit growth numbers, because it has risen exponentially, at least in your tenure, in next 3 years or so, where do you see the number? Because you have already reached the numbers which was there before asset reconstruction scheme.
No, so for us, I think we would be growing, but we would like to grow along with the profitability.
Okay.
So in the current context, the way the economy is performing, I think we would be very happy to grow around 20% every year, organically.
Okay.
But we would also be exploring the opportunities for the inorganic growth. Okay? But organically, 20% is something which we would be definitely growing.
Right. When you say 20% growth every year, now the balance sheet of your size, the obvious question is that capital. Now you have recently concluded the deal. I want to know till what time you think that this capital will be sufficient for the bank for growing as 20% as you are talking about.
I think this capital, along with the internal accruals, would take care us for at least next 4 to 5 years, easily.
Okay. And considering 20% growth.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can safely assume that Yes Bank will not require any such kind of capital for next 4 to 5 years, even for 20% growth every year?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That is something which is interesting for shareholders. Apart from that, I also want to know about Prashant Kumar, who has almost turned around the bank, and that is what the market is talking about. How do you take internal decisions with such an ease? Because the employees I spoke to, he's a taskmaster. So how do you take decisions in such a quick fashion? Because initially the problem was that with the bank, there were multiple problems, as you highlighted, about employees, and you highlighted about deposit growth, asset liability, which was a problem initially. So how did you handle step by step about that? Talk about that.
I think the credit goes to the experience which I got, almost 37 years experience in the State Bank of India. So not only we were handling the different business verticals, different portfolio, we were also moving in the different geographies. And it was a very, very large balance sheet, large number of people. I think that experience, along with the conviction, that as a regulated financial entity, it is very, very important to focus on the governance. Governance, compliance, and the risk management. And I think this is exactly, it's not only in terms of only one person adopting. Today I am seeing the entire bank is adopting that part.
Right.
But all those things, ultimately it flows down from the top. Okay, so we can't expect, like, unless you demonstrate, nobody is going to follow this. So I think what we are seeing, entire bank is moving in a culture where the governance, the transparency, the risk management is very, very important.
Now you have given strength to the bank. I want to know, where do you get strength from? What do you do when you are not at work?
So I think the first question, because there are two separate things, I got strength from my 25,000 people. They are the biggest source of strength for us. When I am free, I am not in the bank, okay? As a person, I enjoy reading, I enjoy seeing the television, I am interested in music.
Okay, so you are interested in music. Which is your favorite
So
singer?
so I think we are from that era where there were names, no? But I think even in the current times, they are a very good singer. So I would not be naming anyone, but I think it's very, very, I really enjoy listening to music.
Okay, and let's assume that the fundraising which you have concluded right now, and if you compare with the period which was there 2.5 years back, is there any related song which you can think of? I can think of Hari Bazi Ko Jeetna Mein Aata Hai, something like that.
Okay. I always think in terms of a future, and one of our customer, okay, where we were just engaging with the customers in terms of how do you think what would happen in March, because they are also our retail investor.
Right, right.
And he just mentioned, he says, "Abhi to party shuru hui hai."
So that is interesting for our viewers. Abhi to party shuru hui hai. You have mentioned that there is no clear indication for from any of the shareholders that they want to exit from the bank, and abhi to party shuru hui hai, meaning about the growth. Still, it is something which investors should watch about for.
No, I think if you see last 2 years, I think consistently we have been able to deliver a growth. Okay, and I think going forward also, our entire focus is in terms of delivering on the growth, but definitely in a manner where we follow the basic principles on the governance, risk, and the compliance. So we are extremely cautious in terms of quality. Okay. So I think one confidence which I would like to give to our customers as well as to the investor, whatever growth we will do, it would not be at the expense of the quality.
So the prudent underwriting methods will continue, as you have stated earlier. And even for corporate growth, I mean, it is not that you are stopping to grow corporate book, right?
No, we are growing. Actually, if you see even last year, the first 2 quarters also, we have disbursed a large number on the corporate. It is not getting reflected in the overall number on the corporate book, because we have also taken a decision that we would not compromise on the pricing. I think the pricing has to be appropriate as per the risk. Okay. So what we are seeing, we are not able to do some large deals, which otherwise as a strategy, we are making our balance sheet very granular. So we are not underwriting very large ticket size. So, and some of the state's assets are also getting repaid. Okay. So that is one of the reasons why it is not reflected in our large loan book. But we are disbursing on the large corporate, and we would continue to disburse on the large corporate also.
In this special segment, we'll not only talk with Mr. Prashant Kumar, we'll talk to the employees who currently works at Yes Bank. Right now, I have with me Mr. Rajan Pentel, who is Global Head for Retail Banking. We'll discuss how good an employee he is with Mr. Prashant Kumar, and also discuss how good Prashant Kumar is boss to him. My first question to you is that I've heard he's a taskmaster, isn't he?
Well, he's a taskmaster, and that's why, the bank is out of the woods. Otherwise, how else you think the bank would have been here where it is today?
Right. Talking about retail banking now, this is one of the verticals which has grown tremendously. In fact, to have that confidence in the bank of retail customers, it was a difficult task. How both of you strategized for the same?
Well, I think let us go into the phase wherein we saw the lowest point for the bank, wherein the first part was to actually inculcate the confidence into the customers. I think the first thing which when Mr. Prashant came on board and when he was here as an administrator, the first thing was to first of all calm the nerves of the employees, because it is the employees who are in touch with the customers. So I think his assurance within half an hour of our first meeting, he said everything is fine, things are going to really work out very well, and now we are strong in the saddle, and we will be able to take care of all our customers. Their money is safe, and the bank is soon going to be, the business is going to be as usual. So I think this was the first confidence building which happened first within the organization and then got spread to the customers, which kind of helped to calm down the nerves in the market.
Mr. Prashant Kumar, I remember having conversation with you during those days, and you were quite upfront that time saying that whomsoever customer wants to withdraw is welcome, but there is no need to panic. How did you handle the situation being MD and CEO who was appointed just 1 or 2 months back?
No, I think what we need to understand, the human psychology. If a person comes to a bank branch, want to withdraw money, and the bank says, we don't have money, okay, or please don't withdraw what you want, you come next day. I think that can send a very negative message. So I think collectively we have taken a call. All our branches would be having sufficient cash and no customer should be sent back. If they want to withdraw 2 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakh, whatever is the requirement, we should very gracefully honor that.
Now this was about past. Let's talk about future. What is the task he has given to you for next 5 years?
Oh well, so if I had to sum it up before coming to this question, I would like to emphasize on 3 parts of the personality of Mr. Prashant Kumar I've seen. So first I spoke about calm, quite composed. The second part was when we were raising the largest FPO in the industry. I think at that point around, nobody could imagine we will go for 15,000 crores. Everybody said, why don't you settle for less? And he was very firm that this is what we are going to achieve. And that was a time when he was able to inculcate confidence across the investor community and also within the employees. And the third phase, of course, which is where the business stands today. So the third phase is extremely passionate. Passionate, of course, remains consistent across, but very focused, very innovation, with a lot of innovation. And also to see that there is enough and more aggression and agility in the organization. The focus is on the customer and the focus is on the employees, which again remains sacrosanct. It's just
right.
that we have to pace up the speed and rather, go for market share, go for immense opportunity what the market throws for us. So I think the bank is poised. There is a lot of stress, a lot of emphasis on the technology, on the delivery mechanism, on the productivity, on the expansion, on the customer touch points. So from wholesome approach, I think you can see that he's there around the organization and voicing his thoughts on what is the best way to service the customer, and that is the way for the bank to grow further.
Now I asked this question to Mr. Prashant Kumar, I'll ask it to you as well. Which is the nearest song you feel that for the future growth of bank that comes in your mind instantly?
So we are in a very competitive market, right? And I can only say that today the bank is into the market with best of technology, best of resources, best of management, and of course the man in the saddle. So I can tell the entire competition, dekhe zara, kisme kitna hai dam.
Mr. Kumar, you would like to join?
I think that is his domain.